Hi everyone, and hi my guest Aglaia Gomez. Earlier this
Hello.
year, in February, we recorded an interview with Claudia Sherakovsky from Ecointelligent Growth on sustainable fashion. There in the interview, Claudia mentioned Cradle to Cradle certification. And we decided to make a part two of that interview, of that recording, with Claudia's colleague, Aglaia Gomez. Aglaia, hi, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I
Welcome
hope you
to,
too.
thanks. Welcome to the show, to Sustainability Explored. I'm very happy to have you here with us today. I always start with asking my guests about their path in sustainability. Would you like to introduce a little bit more to say where you are right now in your career and what are you up to?
Okay. So, yeah, of course. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here. So, and yeah, I don't know if you can see, this is not my house anymore. We finally can come to the office again. So I'm really excited about that. So I hope it shows. So I have been, well, I started studying chemical engineering, but then after 4 years, I decided that I needed something different. And I started studying, and I finished finally environmental sciences. And after that, most of my jobs have been around communicating, not, I wouldn't say educating, but sharing knowledge and spreading the word, raising awareness about different issues related to energy, to water stewardship. This is also my project, the project that I did in my environmental sciences career, and this led me 12 years ago to meet Ecointelligent Growth, and then we started collaborating with the company because their vision I really liked. It was inspired actually by the book Cradle to Cradle: Remaking the Way We Make Things, which doesn't, well, cradle to cradle in the sense of being compared to what is cradle to grave, so the life cycle assessment, in which after you have used a product, you just discard it and forget of where it goes. And people use concepts like eliminate, thinking that this, goes away and it disappears. And instead, in this book, in these principles, it is said that no, there's nothing. Well, we actually know that quote that matter doesn't is not created or eliminated; it just transforms. So they started thinking and visualizing that matter doesn't only still exist, but it can be a very valuable material. It can be an interesting resource, because in nature we see that everything that is discarded by one of the living things, for example, a tree, will be used as a resource and a positive resource for others. No? So this was the principle, and the EIG, Eco-Intelligent Growth, was created with this idea. And then I started working over 7 years ago with this company, and we have been creating impact by raising awareness with companies that can have a lot of impact within their supply chain, within their customers, or in all their surroundings, obviously their workforce. And we have been working with companies who believe or who started understanding. Some of the companies perhaps didn't understand the program, and I will explain maybe later what it is about. But the beautiful thing is that after a while, companies get engaged and are more interested and want to do more things. Perhaps they have learned about it because of a client or because of a supplier, and then they get curious and they want to do more things. And this wanting to do more good is what drives us. So this is my passion actually. So.
That's amazing. The more I research about these topics and the more I talk to people all around the world for this podcast also, the more I think, why are we at all talking about sustainability if that is the only way to do things? Now you mentioned cradle to grave, and I'm like, how funny. How is it even possible to think adults are thinking that what is on the table, as my Canadian thesis advisor would say, when the problem is on the table and we can see it, it's the problem. When it's hidden under the table, it's kind of, it doesn't exist. While that's not at all how things are in the real world.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me more about what are you doing currently in your work. You mentioned in our pre-conversation that you're like Claudia working in the sustainable fashion. Is it really what Ecointelligent Growth focuses on?
No, actually, we work in different areas, mainly fashion and textiles, built environment, and packaging. Because built environment and the textile and fashion industries are the most, some of the most impactful ones currently negatively, and we want them to be impactful in the positive sense. And also packaging because it's mainstream. So these are the three areas we work in. And with Claudia, I'm working mainly on textile and fashion, and which means working with companies worldwide. We have been working in South America, in North America, in Europe, obviously, but mainly because there are brands, also some manufacturers and suppliers, and then in Asia, in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, different countries. So,
how does your regular day look like, or maybe biggest areas of your focus in your how do you call it, in your career, not career, job description list in a way?
So mainly the idea is that we work on one hand in helping companies obtain Cradle to Cradle certification for a range of the products that they make. So because this is a product certification, if this is what they want to do, or we help them with consulting, improving some of the impacts that they have. No? So at company level, at process level, things like that. So our day-to-day would be, now that we can finally come to the office again, so come to the office mainly, perhaps starting by checking the email, because a lot of the work that we do is that's on the desk. So we have to communicate a lot with the client for them to understand what our vision is and how things have to be explained or measured. And then also with the supply chain, because this program that we work with, Cradle to Cradle, is based, the first principle is that we want to make goods, not bads. That means that we want to make products that are healthy and safe for people and for the environment, beyond what regulations request currently, because this is a voluntary program, certification, and hence it goes beyond regulations, because we want to anticipate, because we want to work mainly on the precautionary principle. So then we need to communicate a lot with the supply chain, who has the knowledge of what the products are made of. Some people ask us if it wouldn't be easier to make tests of products, to take a product and a sample and make a test. That is not interesting for us for two reasons. The first one is that when you do a test, you ask a question. So, is this substance present, or is it purely this substance, or is there something else? So it answers right what you asked. It doesn't give you the formula, because otherwise we would know the Coca-Cola formula by now, no? If you could learn that by a test. So instead, when we involve the supply chain, we can ask them directly, can you give me the recipe? Obviously, that is not easy. That takes confidentiality agreements, non-disclosure agreements. But this is the only way in which you can actually know what a product is made of. And also, it allows for the supply chain to feel involved in the process. So the client is not going behind the supplier's back and testing their product, but asking them directly. So this we have seen over the years that strengthens the relationship between the different partners, and now partners, before supplier and client. And this is key to a more sustainable and circular world, actually. Economic models, etc. Because without collaboration, we cannot do all the things that we're expected to. So,
yeah, I see collaboration here, and transparency as well, and
absolutely.
trust.
Yes, exactly.
Let's go closer to the subject of this episode, the Cradle to Cradle certification. What does it mean exactly? I have a little bit of experience with ISO certifications, health and safety at work, and environmental management. I've never had any touch of Cradle to Cradle. What is it in essence? Maybe when was it created and how does it work?
So this is now it is a certification program, but as I was mentioning at the beginning, it was born actually as a book, so as a vision. So that's why it is a different program, because you would what you would expect from many of the programs, certification programs, is that they are a checklist that you comply or not. Cradle to Cradle is a vision, and it is a guidance to help companies make more good instead of only less bad. So obviously, reduce the negative impacts. It is one of the short-term goals. But the long-term vision is to make always a better impact, which is interesting when we're thinking about a business because there's no limit in how much better you can do that, with things. Instead, when you aim for less bad, there's always a limit, zero. So, it's not an interesting view to think that you're going towards zero, that's your end point. So this was born as a vision, as I was telling you, but it was transformed into a certification after some years. First, it was a private certification, and then in 2010, a non-for-profit organization was created, which is called the Cradle to Cradle Products Innovation Institute, okay, which manages from that moment the certification program, which becomes also a third-party certification, okay? Then this is a product certification. It is multi-attribute and multi-sectorial. What does all of this mean? So product certification means that we are not certifying a company, we're not certifying a process, we are only certifying, I don't know, let's say this product. No? Why do we do that? Because we go in so much detail in the work that we do, because we want to ensure that this product is safe, and then it can be included in a circular economy model, that we need to keep the scope limited. Obviously, this we can certify a range of products that are similar, and then over time we can increase the scope. This is what companies do usually. But I was also saying that it is multi-attribute. This means that we have a holistic approach, because as I was saying, we want to companies to make good. How do we do that? So we have to select a product that will be safe and then circular, which means that it will not become a waste after use, by having a strategy for this product to be able to be included in a process, and then to effectively participate in making that happen, okay? And then we also go into the process. We want to understand how water is treated, because we don't want to create any waste. We don't want water to become a waste either. We want it to become a resource, because this is a very valuable resource. And about energy, we want to understand how energy is used, what type of energy is used. We also look at the quantitative use, but we are especially interested in the type of energy that we use, because we are looking at the effects on climate. So, depending on the source, if you're using coal, even if you use less coal, you will still be emitting a lot of gases and solids that you don't want in your atmosphere. Instead, if you perhaps produce too much renewable energy, the only effect will be that you will have to share that, so that's not a problem. So we're looking for that. And then obviously we want to understand who the company behind this product is. So we have a social fairness category that is at company level. So, and that has the aim of showing or promoting that companies go beyond what regulations request. Mm-hmm. So this is, sorry, the second, multi-attribute, and then multi-sectorial means that we can certify any type of product except for pharmaceutical and food, because we want to be able to benchmark products with the same parameters. So for example, behind me, you will see most of the products in this office that you see are actually Cradle Certified, or have been assessed against the same criteria to show that this can be done. And also, the installers have been trained to install the products in a way that they will be able to be disassembled so that they will not become a waste, because this is a huge problem that we have in the built environment.
You anticipated my next question. I did my thesis on electronic waste, and do I, let's say, assume right that, let's say, a phone should meet the criteria of disassembling in order to pass Cradle to Cradle certification?
Exactly. So obviously, we want to promote that innovation. So there could be different ways in which you can manage the recovery and then reuse as a resource of the product that you put into the market. So one easy way could be to make the product disassemblable, so that wherever this product goes, because when in this international globalized economy, you manufacture a product in one country or continent, and it travels to another one to be sold, and perhaps it travels to another one to be used. So obviously, if you want this product to become another resource, you have to make it easy for the recipients of the product after use. If instead you can make a product that can be recovered by the same manufacturer, it wouldn't perhaps need to be disassembled if they manage to recover all the materials. So, but it will depend. Obviously, for garments, we use, as you were saying, Kelly and I work in the fashion sector. Here we have to think of products that can be managed afterwards by any company that will, or different companies that will receive this product that are not directly related to the manufacturer, because it is not feasible or viable to have the products go back to the manufacturer.
Right.
So yes, this is a very interesting question. Thank you.
Speaking of the garments, if you were to describe, to break down the life cycle within the vision of cradle to cradle of, let's say, a dress or a pullover, how would it look like? What's the end life of it? Um, Upcycling or reuse of the garment? Yeah, I think that would be part one of the question, not to overwhelm you.
Okay, thank you. So our idea is to think of the potential of the product when it is designed. So for example, there are some t-shirts that are designed to be biodegradable. So this could be a potential solution if there is a technology, or if there is a culture to use this or to make this type of use. Because one issue that we have seen is that garments that could be biodegradable, and have been tested for that, and are effectively biodegradable, are recognized as a contaminant when they go into the industrial composting facilities, because they are not expecting this type of product. Also, and technically more importantly, because they take longer usually than the other materials that go into the facility, so it clogs the pipes, so it's not fit for this system. So we have to think of the potential that the product can have, but then we have to look at the actual options that we have currently, because if the technology that we have now is to recycle products, then maybe we should be working on doing that. Obviously, recycling is one of the options. Some other options, as you were mentioning, upcycling, sharing, reselling, and other models can come before that. Because, for example, I'm going back to this product. This is not fashion. Well, it's fashion, but it's not a textile. So we have this product that is mainly made of plastic, and the plastics that you have been used are not very costly. So the value of this product as a whole is much higher than if you take the different parts separately. No? So this is why it would be more interesting to keep the product as whole as possible, so that you use less energy to transform the product and also keep the value. But what we need to keep in mind for the longer run is that we always want to redesign the product in a way that it will always be recyclable or compostable. So that not because we want to use recycled content, we are allowed to make something that will have to be burned afterwards, because there's no other choice.
Another kind of an angle that I was just thinking about is, say, electronics. You have an obsolete phone, there must be ideally some take back system, probably broken down to the producer. Apple phones should be going back to Apple recyclers. I don't know, let's say Samsung to Samsung, because they are, I suppose, different, a little bit different. With clothes and fashion, do we need the same, or everything can just go into the same collection?
So regarding textiles and fashion, what currently is happening is that the products are selected by their look. So if they are still like in a good shape or cannot be reused in any way, on one hand, and on the other, on the main materials that have been used. If you look at the label of a product, it tells you mainly about the fabrics that have been used in the main part of the garment. It doesn't tell you what the labels are made of. It doesn't tell you what the seams are made of. It doesn't tell you about the dyes or the coatings or the finishings the product is made has includes. No? So currently the technology is mainly focused on being able to retake these main materials. So for example, denim, it can be made of 100% cotton, or cotton elastane, or cotton polyester. So depending on the material, it will be separated and sent to a facility that shreds and mechanically recycles these materials. Or if it's blends, there are some companies that have been developing over the past years technologies to be able to chemically, separate the different materials and make new fibers out of that. So that leaves us with the minor components. Usually they are separated if it's possible, so buttons, seams, etc. Labels, but the dyes and the coatings are integrated in the product. So when you recycle a product, you don't know actually what you're putting, because you don't know what the chemical content is. So for example, people with sensitivity on skin cannot use certain products that are not, 100% verified safe. And this is also one of our goals. So the technology that we have is now is this one, but fortunately there are different like research projects and technologies that are developing mainly in software, and you were mentioning before, no, transparency. So there are different technologies that are being developed to make this possible, to share this information in a safe way for the different businesses, secure way. And this will enable for a different type of recovering and being able to give more value actually to the different products, because when you lose some information, you also lose value on the product, and this is not economically sustainable, let's say.
Mm-hmm. On a transparency note, is there kind of a general catalog of Cradle to Cradle certified products?
Yes, there is.
Really accessible?
Yes, yeah. There is the website of the institute, which is c2ccertified.org, and there you have a menu on the top, and you have the product registry. You have there in the registry all the products that have been certified in different categories. And when you get to this registry, on the left there's a vertical menu, and that menu you can select by type, or you can write the name or of the supplier, or sorry, of the certification holder, or of the product if you know the name. So yeah, there's different ways in which you can find this information.
And the certification body, is it the only one in the world, or they have like daughter certification companies maybe?
So, good question. The certification body, C2CPII, Cradle to Cradle Products Innovation Institute, is the non-for-profit organization who manages the certification. So they are the only ones who issue a certificate and who manage and who make sure that companies can still maintain the certificate after they have obtained it. Okay. But then the institute has trained a number of companies worldwide to be accredited assessors. This means that we know and EIG is one of them. We know how to work on each category of each level of each area of the certification. And this, we are trained to help companies go towards the goal that they are looking for. But obviously, being vigilant for them to be properly doing that. So yeah, this is why a company, when they want to obtain a certificate, they could go to the institute's website and request for more information. There's a section where it says how to certify, and then the different steps are explained, and then they can contact directly the assessor if they want to for more details. Because this is a product certification, then we need to define the product firsthand, because obviously if it's a piece of paper or a very complex product, the project will be longer or shorter, more complicated or less.
For, I know that, for example, ISO certification, they also have accredited bodies that are certifying, and they have their own like auditors, certified auditors to do the work. Is it the same with Cradle to Cradle? Or let's say, can the company say, we want to get this product certified, and go through the process of submission, evaluation, I don't know what else, by themselves? Part two of that question would be, I didn't see a lot of, I don't know, hiring Cradle to Cradle auditors or certificators, like individuals, you know? What's going on in that regard?
So on one hand, the companies can not certify the products on their own. They have to have the help of a trained assessor, okay, an assessment body, and they would have to first contact this assessment body to be able to start the process. Obviously, that doesn't mean that the company will not have to work. That's far from the truth. And this is a certification that has both quantitative requirements and qualitative requirements. Qualitative requirements are related to what commitments do I want to make for the future, and how am I going to meter this. No? So this means that we have to work together, but companies have to effectively work with an assessor. The Certification Institute, because they manage the certification, they receive the work that the assessors send them in a report with all the documents supporting the declarations that we're doing on behalf of the applicants. Okay. So, and they are the ultimate decision makers about whether a product can be certified and at what level. Then also the applicant will have a direct contact with the institute, because they will have to introduce themselves with a form explaining who the company is, what product they make, they want to certify, etc. And also, because you are asking me for if you can find the certified products, the institute wants to have from the applicant a picture, a website, a contact person for to publish that information. So and so that they can get in contact.
Right.
Yeah.
Another question I had that slipped my mind a second ago. Certification. See, sometimes it happens to me that I simply forgot what I wanted to ask.
One thing perhaps I didn't mention very clearly is that the certification has different levels, and this is because we want it to be a guidance. So depending on the level that you achieve, obviously you will have more stringent requirements, but we recommend companies to start by making a picture of what their product is and how they manage the resources and the company, get the level that they can with the achievements that they have, and then have this 2-year commitment. The certification has a validity of 2 years in order for companies to be able to improve on things that we have identified, and to have this commitment to continue working towards improvement, because there's always the possibility of improving. So.
Right. You earlier mentioned social fairness component. What's included in that category?
So on one hand, we want to understand where the companies, the manufacturing facilities, and the suppliers, the direct suppliers, are located, because depending on where they are located, there will be potential issues for human rights and labor rights related to the sector or the country where the companies are located. So this is the first thing that we do, and then when we identify the different countries and we have like red flags from different websites saying, I don't know, Australia, there's forced labor or something, then we talk to the applicant, to the company, to ask them, okay, what do you do? Do you have a code of conduct? Do you do random visits to your suppliers? What's the way in which you can make sure that these risks that we see as potential are not actually happening? So this is one thing, the first one. Then we ask the company for transparency by completing, I don't know, for example, the UN Global Compact self-assessment, to give more information on who the company is, how they manage to fulfill or to look forward to meeting the different UN Global Compact goals, for example, or other programs. And then we want them to tell us more about what they do beyond what regulations request. So this will be different depending on the country. So for example, a company in Europe where there are many issues that are not easily found anymore, then the projects can be related perhaps on how they improve the livelihood of workers with, I don't know, work balance, or flexibility, or different things. So it will depend on each company. These are the main things that we do, and obviously we promote that companies use in the product that they will certify products that have certification or that are preferred from a social standpoint. For example, if you use cotton, organic cotton got certified has some social features, so this would be preferred to other types of cotton, for example.
Based on your experience working with different companies, who from the side of the company, what kind of a person, let's say in terms of a job titles, is responsible for submitting all of this information, global compass and so on and so forth?
So we encourage to have meetings with more people from the company, because of the fact that this certification is multi-attribute. There are different things that will be that will have to be supplied or explained by different people. So procurement, design, production, and also management, of course, because not only because they will be the ones who can supply the information, but because we want this certification project to become part of the company's strategy. So maybe they don't need to certify all of their products, but that the criteria that we work for in the certification program can be escalated to the full company or to the full facility in different cases. So, but in any case, usually we have these initial and final meetings with all the teams, but then perhaps only one person or two manage that, and they can usually be from the sustainability department or quality.
So it's a thing. A sustainability department is present. That's
there are some, especially in bigger companies. In smaller companies, perhaps design or procurement or production. It will depend really on perhaps the idea of participating in a certification project didn't come from the head office or from the managers. Perhaps it came from the designer. So if this comes from one person within the company, this will be the person who will lead the certification project because it's their idea and they're very excited about it.
That's very good to hear.
Yes.
I was wondering, what's the price range for this to pass the certification?
Okay, so because as I was mentioning, this is a product certification, then it will vary a lot depending on the level that you want to achieve, because with higher levels, you need to achieve more requirements. And one thing I didn't mention is that you cannot do like in other certification programs like LEED for green building, that you have a scorecard and then you earn points for each category, and then you need, I don't know, 65 points to meet gold level. Cradle to Cradle is not like that. You have different criteria, different requirements for each category, and you need to fulfill or you need to meet all the requirements for one level in each category to be able to meet that level. So if you obtain 4 gold levels and then 1 bronze level, you stay at bronze level. Okay, so is this strange? So depending on the level and depending on the complexity of the product, as I was mentioning before, because we do a toxicology assessment on each individual substance present in each individual component that you put in your product, then this is on one hand lengthy because we have to reach out to the supply chain, convince them that they have to collaborate, and then obtain this information. So that takes a long while usually. And then to do this toxicology assessment, that is also not a very fast thing because we have to compare different databases, different research papers, different sources, so that we can have a more objective idea of what the toxicology risks are. So the price range will vary a lot also because the first certification is kind of when we make the big picture of everything. And then when you have to do recertifications, the work is much more to validate, to update on what you have been doing in the past 2 years, etc. So to be safe, the first certification could go between 10,000 and 30, depending on how many products you want to certify for yourself.
Euros.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What
is the first one.
Yeah. What other benefits are there for the company, incentives to certify under Cradle to Cradle certification, except for the reputation? Like I clearly see the reputation. Say, I want to certify this. I don't know, new phone that is assemblable, reassemblable. All the piece of it is recyclable, and I want you as a Cradle to Cradle certifying accredited body to to keep me accountable and to say yes, I really did a great job. It did not harm. I did better to the environment and the society than anybody else in my range. That's the reputation. But what drives the companies to pay this amount of money, starting from 10k euros and up, go through the process, through all this headache and everything? What drives them? What is in there for them?
There are many different reasons. On one example, and this is perhaps for the short term, is because some clients or some sectors are requesting it. For example, we were mentioning LEED certification. You earn points for LEED if you have Cradle to Cradle certified products in the building. So this could be a reason, or perhaps because a client has directly requested the manufacturer to obtain or to achieve a certification. Okay. But this is short term, and this is not, as I was mentioning, this is perhaps one of the entry points, but we have seen that companies in the longer run understand the benefits of the certification, and then they stay with it. Which ones are these? So there could be one, complex products, let's say, let's think carpets, okay, or I don't know, obviously with different components that are difficult to obtain information for. If you want to be able to communicate or to know that your product is healthy and safe for people, you need to do all this work with the supply chain to obtain the information. Clients cannot usually do that because suppliers are not eager to share information with them with the risk that they share that with the competitors, no?
Yeah.
So they need a third-party trustee who will not share this information with them. We only give qualitative reporting to the client, telling them, okay, this component is safe for use, or this component has some issues that limit the certification to this level, or things like that. But we do not disclose confidential information. That's part of our job. This is one of the reasons that they want to make sure that they know what they put in their products, which is not usually what happens. Actually, you can. We do one exercise with fashion brands or designers or stuff, and ask them, okay, from your top, so your T-shirt, your pullover, whatever. Do you know how many components do you have in your products? They don't even know that. So because it's so complex, because you can only see the fiber, because we have not been educated to look at these things. So to have the information is one of the reasons why companies would do that, and also to anticipate future regulations and risks that could appear with that. Because when you do transformation changes in your company, in your product design, in your product selection, materials, etc., um, you can do that. If you can do that at your own pace, you can actually communicate it as a benefit. You can also do it at the velocity you are able to do that. If you have to change things because of a regulation, then you have a very hard timeline, and it usually means that you will lose some competitivity at some point. So the leaders are the ones who look ahead and understand that they have to act as soon as possible. And obviously, when the time is right for them, that's to look into the future.
Yeah, that
It's one of
explains.
the main reasons.
Yeah. On top of your mind, what's one challenge that you face in your professional life that you wish was resolved as fast as possible? Something that is, maybe it's a regulation, maybe it's something, maybe it's the client's approach. You tell me, but something that is, pressing.
Obviously, the fact that we don't look into the future, but we look just today, what we have to do today or tomorrow, or perhaps companies think only about the financial year as a goal. Um, this is a challenge, but not for us specifically. It is a challenge for everyone, because when you have this mindset, you will not be prepared for things that will come your way that are unexpected. And we have seen a huge proof of that in the last month. No, so this is something that I would really love to change. That, but this is a utopia for me. But we actually see some companies that are increasing number of companies that are understanding that the long-term vision can be profitable for everyone, because we are not saying that we have to lose competitiveness uh, for the sake of the nature and society. We think that we can have improvements for all of us at the same time. So this is and benefits. So this is our main goal.
Amazing. As we are approaching the end of our interview, what is the piece of advice or a book recommendation, maybe a movie recommendation that you could suggest to the listeners for them to expand on their topic and research more by themselves?
I would really recommend the Cradle to Cradle, remaking the way we make things, because it might seem as a because of what I said of guidance and something like a manual or something. It's not. It's a story, different stories actually. So it's enjoyable to read, and actually, so I would start with that. And but obviously, when you go to YouTube, you will find tons of things that can can help you dig more into what you're interested in. So
I have to confess, I haven't read the book yet, so I will definitely
now
use
you have the
it.
chance.
Yes. Thanks so much, Aglaia, for your time, for
Thank
your
you.
passion for this profession, and for sharing your knowledge with all of us today. Thanks so much.
A pleasure for me. Thank you very much for inviting.
Thanks.
And looking forward to your work, to your other interviews.
Yes, cool. Thanks so much. Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you. Bye.